Welcome into CFB Now. My name is Trizzy Trace Gerard, and we're talking Hogs here at Chat Sports. We got to go through an updated look at the latest coaching rumors for the Arkansas Razorbacks and a new list of the guys who lead the odds, and the chances are increasing for a couple of very notable coaching targets. Obviously, James Franklin, a guy that a lot of Hogs fans were very interested in hiring, he decided to call Virginia Tech home. So we're going to talk about the newest updates around the Hogs. So I encourage you to stick around because today we're going to be talking about the list of coaching candidates. We're going to go through the odds. We're going to go through my picks. We're going to go through the latest rumors and everything in between. And I encourage you to stick around for this video. The odds of Jon Gruden to Arkansas, they're increasing. And we're going to break it down here on CFB Now. I appreciate you for clicking on this video and for tuning in to the show. I also have a little bit of a challenge for you. We have been doing a lot of coaching candidate search videos here at Chat Sports. Arkansas, we've been leading the charge here throughout most of the time, but LSU on a recent video, they got 53 subscribers, so help me out. Hit the sub button if you love living hog wild and you want to see the Hogs back on top. So let's take a look at the updated odds via Bet Online. You can see Ryan Silverfield and Alex Golesh, they lead the charge in the highest odds to be the next head Hog. Jimbo Fisher, Deion Sanders, Jeff Traylor, Gus Malzahn, a couple of other names on there. And you see Jon Gruden at plus 500, Bobby Petrino at plus 1,000, and Eric Morris, a guy that I'm very high on, at plus 1,400. And I want to just have a conversation about Bobby Petrino as a whole. Look, it's not that I hate him. It's not that I think he's been an absolute disaster, but it's very apparent that this hire Bobby conversation just needs to be done. He hasn't won a game. I understand that it's not all his fault. I understand that he doesn't have his players. He doesn't have his coaching staff. It's all Pittman's guys. But the reality is you were unable to beat some bad SEC teams. You're looking like you're not going to win another game since before Memphis. So in my personal opinion, it's nothing against Bobby Petrino, what he's done at this point. It has everything to do with I'm just ready for something new, something different, and to reinvigorate and spark the life in the Arkansas Razorback football program. Now, Kalshi has some pretty interesting chances. This is kind of an interesting website. It goes through like the chances of certain things happening, and one of the things they've been tracking is the head coaching searches for a lot of these colleges. Arkansas right now, Ryan Silverfield has a 27% chance, Alex Golesh 18%, Jon Gruden 17% chance. But it's worth noting that Jon Gruden number was as low as 1% at one point in time, skyrocketed up to over 20%, and right now it's living at about 17%. So let's take a look at what CBS Sports had to say, because a new coaching candidate has entered the mix. And I'm going to tell you who that is. CBS Sports reporting a name that keeps popping up this cycle is Pat Fitzgerald, the most successful coach in Northwestern history. Several schools have interviewed Fitzgerald, including Arkansas. And in my personal opinion, I do think Pat Fitzgerald would actually be a really good hire. I think that this is definitely a guy and a wildcat, that you should be having some conversations with. He coached Northwestern from 2006 to 2022, had an 106-81 record, 3 separate seasons with 10-plus wins, and he was fired after being wrongfully accused of in a hazing scandal what was going on at Northwestern. So in my personal opinion, I would love to see Pat Fitzgerald potentially lead the Arkansas Razorbacks, and according to reports from CBS Sports, it looks like there have been some conversations. So a new coaching candidate enters the mix, and it's one that I think that us Hogs fans should be a little bit excited about. Now, we got some more buzz to talk about, and I encourage you to stick around because we got some intel and some information that I want to share about Alex Golesh, Eric Morris, and, of course, Jon Gruden, because like we said earlier, those odds are increasing. But first things first, got to thank today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys love watching sports, but you want to make some money, I highly encourage you to download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to pick more on Josh Allen's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, now you can on the same lineup, only over on Prize Picks. It's so simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Ladies and gentlemen, we make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid, so don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Now, in terms of a college football lineup that you guys should check out, I got John Mateer more on his passing yards against Mizzou. I got Texas versus Arkansas. Taylon Green, 52.5 rushing yards. I'm hammering the more there. And then Kenyon Sadiq. I'm taking the more on his receiving yards against USC. I have a philosophy I like to live by. Life's too short to project the less. So hammer the more over on Prize Picks. We got a pretty sweet deal for it. If you download Prize Picks, use code CLNS. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All that information is clickable and easy to find in the comments and description of this video. Friendly reminder to download the Prize Picks app. Use that promo code CLNS, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks, where it's always good to be right. Now, a name that has been very, very popular amongst this Arkansas coaching search is Ryan Silverfield, the head coach of the Memphis Tigers. And honestly, it would be pretty interesting to bring him in considering he just beat the Arkansas Razorbacks earlier in the season. And I also think that he's a guy that does have the Memphis Tigers playing some good football, but personally, I think that Alex Golesh would be an awesome slam dunk hire for the Arkansas Razorbacks. First of all, he has experience in the SEC. He was an offensive play caller, an offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers for a little bit, and he has an attitude, in my personal opinion, that would just fit well in Fayetteville. He's got the leadership. He brings intensity. He has the scheme. He's a football wizard. He is very, very innovative in terms of his offense, and he has a magnetic personality, and I do know for a fact that dudes love playing for him. And to be totally honest, I would love somebody who can be a great recruiter. I think Alex Golesh can do that. And in DFW specifically, that's an area where the Arkansas Razorbacks have a ton of competition in terms of recruiting. I mean, you got to compete with Texas, A&M, Tech, OU. You could mention OSU, but now even SMU is in the mix because they're starting to figure their things out, and they're starting to build a powerhouse in Dallas. Josh Pate did mention Alex Golesh to Arkansas being a really, really good fit, so it's not just me who thinks it. There's other people out there who think Golesh would be an awesome fit for Arkansas up in NWA. So another guy I'm very interested in, I personally still have PTSD from any coach with the last name Morris. And just full transparency, I was at school from 2017 to 2021. I lived the Chad Morris experience. I was at the Western Kentucky game when there was so few fans. It was the lowest attended game in like 30, 40, 50 years. It was ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, Eric Morris, he is not Chad. The things that he has done with Drew Mestemaker, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I genuinely think that he has the UNT mean green. That is one of the most impressive offenses in all of college football. They do lead all of college football in scoring. They average 45.3 points per game. And fun fact, he is a finalist for the George Munger Coach of the Year award. I think Eric Morris is somebody that the Arkansas Razorbacks should have on their radar. He can work with quarterbacks. He's young. He's innovative. And he's somebody that, in my opinion, should be looking to take that next step to try to lock in a big-time job for his future. Now, who will be the next head hog? Let me know in the comments section. Who do you want it to be? Who do you think it'll be? Share your thoughts and let me know. Now, I promised you we'd talk about Jon Gruden, and the odds are increasing. In case you guys didn't know, last week there were reports from On3 and some other places that Gruden wasn't even a candidate, and his odds were about 1% to get hired. However, James Franklin gets hired, a few days pass, and now we can see that his name is popping up more and more and more in the rumors and in the buzz. And I'm not saying that you need to take the rumors for granted, but when there's smoke, there's typically some sort of fire. And we have seen those odds increase. Friendly reminder, it was less than 1% last week, according to Kalshi. Now, it's at over 17%, or around 17%, depends on when you watch the video. Now, why do I think Jon Gruden might be headed to Fayetteville? There's a few reasons, and maybe some of it is just me being a fan and wanting something crazy to happen and make my team relevant again. But we've talked about this last week. I want to bring it back up because I'm not going to say that I do think that there is some substance here, but I don't think that this was just thrown out for nothing. Maybe it was. It's Brandon Walker. We all know that there's a lot of just jabber coming from his mouth. But what is interesting to note is Brandon Walker said, wow, All I can say is that would be impressive. And to me, that immediately says Jon Gruden is the guy that this is all about because he works at Barstool. He just hit a year there in terms of his contract with Barstool Sports. So maybe he's been there for a year and he wants to get back into coaching. We've known he's expressed interest in coaching in the SEC. We've known that he's talked about returning to college football. And this is an old tweet, but it's from September, and it's just an interesting thing to look at. Brett Favre, love him or hate him. He was a great quarterback at one point in time. This tweet, I'm not going to sit here and say this means that it's Jon Gruden, Arkansas. That's not the point of me showing this. But there is some reason to think that this could be a good fit. And personally, I do think that Jon Gruden could provide a huge spark for the program. And honestly, I think that he can make this football team relevant. He can make this program have eyeballs on them. He could be an elite recruiter. And honestly, can you name one person who loves football more than Jon Gruden? I can't. I mean, if there is a football guy, it is Jon Gruden. And I know that there is opinions out there. And I know that maybe he might be the next Bill Belichick situation. I actually don't think that that's going to be what's going on if you do hire Gruden in Arkansas. Because for what it's worth, he doesn't have a girlfriend that's dragging him to co-ed adult cheer competitions. I don't think there's that distraction. I think that he is so in love with football that he's thinking with this football head, not his below the belt head. That's just my personal opinion. Now, in terms of some top choices for the Arkansas Razorback job, again, I'm an Arkansas grad. I just want to see my team get back to the top. Or honestly, just get to the top. I want to see my team be relevant. I would like to compete for more than the Liberty Bowl. Call me crazy. This idea of embracing mediocrity that is led by Hunter Yurachek, it needs to be done. Quite frankly, I think you need to clean house, get Hunter Yurachek the F out of the 479. And I think that bringing in one of these four coaches, Gruden, Golesh, Morris, or Pat Fitzgerald, any of those, I'm happy with. Even Jon Sumrall, I would love that. But my top four are these guys you see on screen. Now, if you want more content around the Arkansas Razorbacks college football or the NFL, hit me up on X, TraceGerard48, or just search up Trizzy Trace, and you'll be able to find me. If you are a Hogs fan and you want to talk some more ball, please feel free to slide into my DMs. I love chatting it up with the Razorback Nation, and I love calling the Hogs, just like I know most of you do. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's college football video. We had updated coaching odds for Golesh, Jon Gruden, Ryan Silverfield, and a new candidate emerges in the coaching search in Pat Fitzgerald. You're watching CFB now. My name is Trizzy Trace Gerard, and y'all have a happy football.